Futurama was way ahead of its time. Underrated compared to The Simpsons and having a fat 7-season run, the sci-fi nonsense of Matt Groening's brain has always entertained as much as it has posed massive and important questions, as science fiction always does. But that doesn't mean it has done so with perfect logic. As with everything that exists in the screen world, Futurama has its share of moments that just don't make sense, where it trips over and rewrites its own established lore in head-scratching ways. Yes, it is a comedy science fiction cartoon that prioritizes fun over all things grounded in reality, but hey, that doesn't mean we can't crack out that fine-tooth comb and give it a good going over. At least next time you're on your binge rewatch of the series, as we all end up doing, you can annoy your pals with these finicky questions instead. And probably just be told to just shut up and enjoy it all the same. I am the Slurm representative, Ash from What Culture, and these are 10 plot holes that almost ruin Futurama. 10. The Wheel. Let's start with a pretty easy one. Part of Futurama's core mythology is that society has evolved beyond the use of the wheel, something which gets specific focus in Mother's Day, where no one beyond Fry even knows what one is. Even the Professor is astounded when Fry reinvents the wheel, asking Fry to show us the wheel, confirming that not only are wheels not in use, they're completely unheard of. However, wheels very plainly do exist within Futurama's world. While yes, cars have been replaced by hover cars, other wheels are extremely common in New York. We see office chairs, Bender's friend Fender, the wheeled amp, and the Professor has several other wheeled gadgets in his collection. When Bender bends him backwards, he uses a mini unicycle to support his head. And he has a wheelchair, one he specifically refers to as the one with the wheels. Really interesting conundrum, if you ask me. Wheelie sounds like really, that's the pun. 9. Bender's 40%. There's a running joke with Bender where he declares he is 40% of whatever metal or substance is being discussed at the time. And after 2 times, the joke clearly no longer makes sense, as a 3rd time tips him up to 120%. Is this particularly a big deal? Not really, but is it worth talking about, if only to revisit all of Bender's great one-liners? Absolutely. Bender claims to be 40% zinc, titanium, dolomite, lead, and 30% iron, as well as having a 0.04% nickel impurity and being 40% empty, though that final one probably wouldn't contradict the rest of what's going on in there. When he's broken up and must be reassembled, he also claims to be 40% back, baby. The metals all add up to 190% though, with 0.04% of that being the nickel impurity. However, we know the dolomite one is true because he survived the lava pit, and we know he is iron because he is also magnetic. He's able to pawn himself when titanium prices skyrocket, though that would put him to 110%. Maybe he lied to the pawn guy, or maybe he's just bad at maths, but hey, it is just a dumb phrase and shouldn't be taken seriously, even though that is what we're doing here. Plot holes, baby. 8. Why not just kill Santa? A bit of a dark suggestion, perhaps, but Futurama's version of Santa is actually a killer robot. Planet Express has even installed a top-of-the-range security system to keep them safe on Christmas Eve. Wouldn't it just be so much simpler to just kill him, though? The Earth is shown to have an impressive military, even if it is poorly led by Zap Brannigan and often defeated by the Omnicronians. Though Santa causes a lot of damage, he is just one person. His elves don't even work for him now, with such low demand for toys, and even if they did, they're not much of an army. The Planet Express ship made it to his Neptune base, so it's not like he's in some impossible-to-reach lair. Surely killing him is the easiest option in this universe. I guess killing Santa comes with all sorts of stigma though, so. 7. Fry never really left home. Fasten your seatbelts because there are 3 time travel related plot holes in a row. It's a very bumpy ride. They all connect to the first movie, Bender's Big Score, which uses time travel to propel its plot forward. One of the main elements of the story sees Fry returning home to the year 2000, living there for 12 years until Bender goes back in time to then kill him. This turns Fry into Lars, setting up the events which actually kick-started Bender's Big Score, and fast fossilizes Seymour, something which stacks up with Seymour's backstory. What doesn't stack up, though, is anything else about this backstory. Fry went home, which as far as his family are concerned means that he never left. This all means the flashbacks we see of his family missing him can't have happened. Yancey naming his son after Fry, Fry visiting his mother's dreams, Seymour's loneliness outside the pizza shop. none of it really happened if Fry was there all along. 6. Fry's tattoo. And then we get to the second time travel conundrum. It's only possible due to the tattoo of Bender on Fry's ass, which contains a time code hidden in Bender's eye. There's a minor plot hole that Fry is somehow able to read his code with a mirror whilst running when the professor's powerful microscope is needed the first time around, but that is not the big one here. Instead, it's where the tattoo comes from at all. Bender takes it off Lars, who is really Fry at the end. But then, how did it get onto Lars, who was really Fry in the beginning? And why did nobody ever see it before? Various strange and overly complicated wormhole theories exist, as does the theory that it was planted there at some point by the cosmic, godlike being Bender meets in Godfellas, or by the Nibblonians somehow. Both seem rather pie in the sky though. Some have tried to explain that taking the tattoo from Lars and putting it on Fry completes a loop, but without an ultimate origin point, this doesn't really wash. 5. Nibbler disappears from the universe. This is the third time travel related plot hole, but unlike the previous two, it does not contain time travel directly. It does, however, come at the end of Bender's big score after Bender's paradoxical time travel adventures. The universe splits open, tearing a hole in the sky, causing Nibbler to panic. He jumps up into the air and eats himself, snake eats tail, or Ouroboros style. Leaving the logic of this aside, this just makes no sense. Nibbler reappears in the next movie, The Beast with a Billion Backs, with no exploration for where he went in the meantime. Obviously, this is just supposed to be a weird sight gag with no explanation needed, but it does raise interesting questions. Futurama often explores strange areas of sci-fi, and even though there was absolutely no chance of them ever doing anything more with it, you can't help but feel if they really wanted to, they definitely could have. 4. Where did the Popplers cash go? Ah, sweet, sweet Popplers. In the episode The Problem with Popplers, we see Fry, Bender, and Leela discover an unknown but delicious food. Interplanetary KFC in the form of Popplers. These turn out to actually be baby Omnicronians. Eating them raises ethical questions and almost starts a war and yada yada yada. The rights and wrongs of Popplers are not where the plot hole lies, but it is in the financials that we're looking. Bender and Fry initially sell them for $1 a dozen, before Fishy Joe's Joseph Gilman goes into business with them, selling the Popplers then for $2 a dozen. In this deal, Fry and Bender, and presumably Leela and the rest of Planet Express, once they start harvesting in commercial quantities, they get paid their regular $1 a dozen. Prior to the Omnicronian involvement, these are a huge success. They're basically the Big Mac meets the Whopper with the Colonel's secret recipe. They sell in astronomical figures, which would surely mean massive profit for Planet Express. But where exactly did that money go? It's never mentioned again. 3. Mars wasn't really destroyed. There's a riff on the 2012 Mayan calendar prediction, with the 3012 Martian calendar again predicting that the Earth would be destroyed in the series. The plot hole here is that the solar flare actually does occur, unlike in 2012. Mars explodes and is shunted out of orbit, coming so close to Earth that people can literally jump from the red planet's dusty surface into the streets of New York. Scientific issues aside with that, the story basically makes sense. However, a few episodes later, we're back to Mars for Viva Mars Vegas, where we see Amy's family business of casinos. How exactly are these things still going after the planet was exploded and thrown out of orbit? Assuming these sites even survived the blast, the planet would be out of orbit. The buildings would have been crushed by the close proximity to Earth, and casinos were unlikely to be thriving. 2. Did the common cold leave New York? In Cold Warriors, there is a rather large plot hole which never gets explained. Fry gets the common cold, which due to the disease having been wiped out, turns out to be incredibly dangerous to everyone else. Initially, the crew are quarantined to the Planet Express building, before Bender messes all that up and the disease spreads through Manhattan. The island is then wrapped in massive shrink wrap, then launched into space. Leaving aside how similar the containment is to the Simpsons movie, there is a glaring flaw in Cold Warriors. Once the disease starts to spread, Linda and Morbo the news monster are shown to be suffering from it too. Not a problem, but despite seeming to report on the new New York goings-on more than you'd think, it has been firmly established that the news is filmed in an LA studio. Quite a big oversight. 1. Leela is the other. Rather than a plot hole, this is more of a plot void, really. A thread that went absolutely nowhere and feels like a wasted opportunity. Fry and Nibbler's storyline gets revisited throughout the series, linking together the core mythology and the Nibblonians' battle with the Brainspawn. Because Fry is his own grandfather, which is surprisingly not really a plot hole, his unique brainwaves make him immune to the Brainspawn attacks, and so he's key to the Nibblonian fight. This means that whenever Nibbler's main storyline is explored, before we all know he can speak, Fry is usually with him. He vents to Nibbler that he wishes he was with Leela, to which Nibbler mutters, perhaps she is the other, and telling Fry he'll help set them up. He then wipes Fry's memory. While Fry and Leela do end up getting together, Nibbler's role seems muted and they don't particularly help the Nibblonian cause, at least not as a couple. Either this was a vague reference to Star Wars with Yoda's "there is another" about Leia, or it was a plot thread they just snipped off with no explanation. And that's our list. What other show-breaking plot holes are there in Futurama? And are these ones really show-breaking for you, or do you not care? Share your thoughts in the comments section below. I've been Ash, and this has been What Culture. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and come back again soon for some lovely space age content for you. There's more of it. Thanks for watching.